Tim O'Sullivan, 1998, said that all media texts tell us some kind of story. The Sheffield Star does this by giving the reader the most exciting fact in the first sentence. For example, it has 3 men accused of being drug smugglers imported 30 mil of cannabis. My newspaper has followed this by telling the reader the most exciting fact straight away by saying Rotherham has been thrown into chaos caused by huge amounts of snow. Therefore, I have reinforced the conventions of real media texts.
Levi Strauss, 1958, said that all stories operate to clear certain binary opposites, for example, good versus evil. The Rotherham Advertiser does this by favouring the victims by making them seem like the good guys. For example, it has an image of a grandmother with her granddaughter, which makes them look innocent, and that the readers should side for them. My newspaper has followed this by making the victim sound innocent, as it talks about how a victim was just riding his bike.
Stuart Hall, 1980, said that media texts reinforce dominant ideologies in society, which then creates a preferred reading for the audience. The Rotherham Advertiser does this by representing the good things in society as being good. For example, in this news story about how the bus operator is freezing fares in the new year, they have included a photo of the deputy managing director of the bus operator, smiling. The readers get the impression that he is a good person and he is doing something positive. As he is smiling, he is not being grumpy or rude to the camera. We did this by representing youth as being bad. For example, in the photo of Eggman's story, we made the young person wear a hoodie. Hoodies all seem to be part of thug/gang culture, so the readers will know that he was a bad person, and that we are supporting this idea. Therefore, we have reinforced conventions of how newspapers represent dominant ideologies in society.
The convention of a newspaper is that the masthead is placed at the top of the cover page. The Sheffield Star follows this convention as it places its masthead at the top of its cover page. We have reinforced this convention by placing our masthead at the top of our cover page. This is because it is the most important part of the cover page and it identifies your newspaper. This also forms part of our house style, which is important because then the audience can recognise it as a brand. This is reinforced by the logo that the Sheffield Star has, because when the audience sees it, they recognise it as being the logo of that newspaper. Therefore, placing it at the top makes it easy for the reader to spot and it shows its significance. Roland Barthes, 1977, said that all photographs in newspapers are anchored by a caption. The Rotherham Record does this by putting a caption underneath the photograph, which is written in a bold text to make it look more attractive and appealing. Our newspaper does this by putting a keyword in bold text and then a sentence in normal text explaining more about the photograph. We did this because it separates and splits up the caption and makes it seem less wordy. The Daily Mirror also does it this way. For example, in the 1st of January 2011 issue, on page 5 it says, "Quarry, Joe was found nearby." Therefore, I have reinforced a generic convention of the newspaper.
Ang, 1991, suggests that media producers have an imaginary entity of their target audience in mind before they create a media product. This is so that they can base their ideas and meanings on their audience, so that their product appeals to the audience rather than looking for an audience after they have produced their text. When we were designing Kinworth Mail, we identified our audience by conducting research on existing local newspapers in our local area. We found, according to JITREG figures, that the majority of the readership were in this age group, so when we decided to come up with ideas that appealed to this audience, we decided that the stories would be about things in the area of Kinworth that would concern them, i.e. the state of their local community and the problems that they think should be dealt with, e.g. vandalism. This is because we found that things like this were common in existing local newspapers such as the Sheffield Star and also general gossip at bus stops. Therefore, we have reinforced codes and conventions of existing media products by gaining an imaginary entity of our target audience before we made our media products.
Another way in which we produced an imaginary entity before we created our media product was that we researched the population of Kinworth by looking at the 2001 census. We found that the largest group of people were in the age range of 30 to 59-year-olds, which was 43.5%, making 4,797. This means that our target audience was within the largest age range in Kinworth, which allowed many of our products to appeal to the larger audience. The Rotherham Advertiser does a similar thing because most of its readers are between the ages of 45 to 54 years old in Rotherham. Within 10,753, a large amount of people in Rotherham are aged between 45 to 54, i.e. over 13%. Therefore, the Rotherham Advertiser has chosen to aim its local newspaper age group at the largest amount so we can get larger amounts of readers. Therefore, I have reinforced the ways in which existing local newspapers target their audience.